Welcome. My name is William J. Rothwell. You can call me Bill. Today I have 20 minutes to speak with you about accelerating your talent development strategy. I would want to mention at the very beginning of this talk that I have been to Asia Pacific many times. I visited China 83 times. I've been to Singapore 32 times. I've been to Malaysia more than 25 times, and many Asian countries. My wife is Filipino, and so, of course, I've been to the Philippines many times. So today, I'm speaking to you about accelerating your talent development strategy. How can we speed it up? So basically, I'm going to first define some terms. What do we mean by talent? What do we mean by development? What do we mean by talent development? What do we mean by strategy? What do we mean by talent development strategy? If we don't know the meanings of terms, we're going to have difficulty formulating an effective approach to developing our people. And then I'll explain why that's important, why we should care about it. And finally, I will give you at least 15 practical ways to accelerate talent development in your organization. So first, some definitions. What do we mean by the word talent? I actually did a research study with 1,000 managers in the U.S. asking them that very question. And I gave them a list of possible ways to define the term talent and asked them to pick the one that was best suited to their own organization. So one definition of talent is simply productivity or job performance. A second is promotion potential. A third is both current job performance and future promotion potential. Yet another definition is inborn strengths, things that I'm born with, special abilities. Maybe I'm better at mathematics than most people. Maybe I'm better at artistic creations than other people. That could be a talent. Talent could mean those things that I aspire to be good at. You might have heard Malcolm Gladwell say that if we practice anything for 10,000 hours, we will be a world-class expert. So if you play the piano and practice for 10,000 hours, you'll be a world-class pianist. And so there are many definitions of the term talent. And development, of course, refers to how we prepare people. That's broader than training. Training is planned development, but a lot of development is unplanned, woven into work experience, what we learn from what we do. So development can be planned, unplanned, or somewhere in the middle. And so training is one of those ways. Today, very popular in the business world is the so-called 70-20-10 rule. 70% of development should occur on the job, woven into the work assignments. Another 20% should be based on social interaction with your peers, online or on site. Social media can be a great place for you to acquire resources or carry on conversations or get mentoring from people maybe in similar jobs in different companies. And only 10% of development should occur through planned training or online or on site or through some blended method, the 70-20-10 rule. What is a talent, or what is strategy? Strategy refers to how we go about competing, our method of competing. So do we want to grow the business? Do we want to downsize the business? Do we want to diversify into related businesses? Do we want to integrate with our suppliers, our distributors, do both. There are many choices in strategy, how we can choose to compete. So when we put it all together and we say talent development strategy, we're talking about how we will go about, the approach we will use to develop our people, however we define the term talent. And this is quite important because we can't do everything. We cannot use all those definitions of talent. We must be more selective. Otherwise, we might need an army of consultants living in our company forever to help us do so many different things. So why do we care about talent development strategy? Well, first of all, we know that one of the most common complaints CEOs have had about their people development efforts in their organizations is that they often do not adequately meet business needs. We call that the alignment problem. Alignment vertically with the business strategy compared to the talent development strategy, and then horizontally across the different ways we can develop talent. And I mentioned a few of those when I described the 70-20-10 rule. There are over 500 ways to develop people. We often think of training as the first way, but there are really many others. Rotation, shadowing programs, mentoring, all kinds of different approaches to develop people. So we can come up with a strategy to integrate across all of our development methods to get the best results for the business. So let me share with you a few practical ways we can accelerate talent development. Before I get into that, let me share with you a story. Some years ago, I had a Chinese student come to me. She was a PhD student, and she had an internship lined up with a famous multinational company. I will not tell you the name of the company. But that company has used for many years an approach to quickly identify superstar talent, what we call high potentials. And their approach is very simple, and you could argue it's not very rigorous, but it works for them. And that approach is about 2 weeks into a new hire's work with the company, the manager will call that new hire in and give that person an impossible work assignment. Impossible in the sense that the manager believes nobody could do that assignment in the time available with the resources available to the quality standards the manager describes. And it's a test. It's not a test in the sense of a paper and pencil exam like students are used to. Instead, it's a performance test. And the organization wants to see how an individual reacts to such a situation. What do you do when you're handed an impossible assignment? One reaction would be to give up and quit. And the company would say, good, we're rid of somebody that we don't want to waste our time on. Another approach would be the passive-aggressive approach. Wait until the deadline arrives and then pretend that you didn't know that was the deadline, or beg for more time. If that's what the person does, they will be fired. A third approach is to hand in something, maybe 80% of what the manager requested, and if that happens, the company will consider the person a B player, B as in boy, player. They will make an offer, but they will not consider that person extremely talented. But only about 1 to 5% of all employees will come up with a solution that surprises their manager. It's better than anything the manager would have thought of, and it will meet the requirements of that impossible assignment. If the worker does that, he or she will be classified an A player, a superstar, a high potential. And that will tell the company that they want to do everything possible to recruit, retain that worker and invest in his or her promotion potential, because that is a potential leader of the future. Why did I tell you that story? Because notice the approach. The company waits until about 2 weeks into the new hire's job and then provides an impossible assignment, usually with a short fuse, not much time to deliver on the project to the manager's satisfaction, and then sits back to see what happens. It's not a very rigorous approach. Some would call it unfair, but it does work, and it does help quickly identify the most talented people. And it alone is a form of accelerated talent development. The test itself is speeded up and is a way to test the quality of people. Bank America, on the other hand, is well known for their policy. They tell every manager and supervisor, you have 3 weeks to decide whether a new hire is a high potential. 3 weeks. They don't tell the manager how to do it. They don't tell the supervisor what to do to make that determination. They simply say, we give you 3 weeks. Tell us who is a superstar. And again, they want to know that so they know where to focus their investments and their time on talent. So let me give you, in the time remaining, as I said, I have to accelerate my talk in the short time I have been given. I'll give you 15 practical ways to cut the development time of your people. First, identify your high potentials early. I already talked about a strategy to do that. And I mentioned the Bank America example of leaving the supervisors to identify top talent within 3 weeks and then throw money at them to keep them. And second, clarify the critical roles. Who are the key people and who are the key positions in your organization? And then take steps to build on what are already strong employees and strong job incumbents. Third, segment talent for professional development. Segment talent. Well, you may have heard of the internal labor market. The U.S. has a classification scheme, 10 categories of employees on the EEO-1 form. You can look that up on the web. But it's a way to classify workers based on the category of worker. Example would be an executive. An example would be a middle manager. Example would be a technical worker like an engineer or an IT person. And we come up with a different talent development strategy for each classification or category of workers, because each group is a little different. And you cannot have a one-size-fits-all talent development strategy, not if you want it to work, because jobs are different, and we need to develop people accordingly. A fourth approach is create targeted development plans. A lot of organizations have individual development plans. Some of those are focused on annual development. But we can come up with more crafted, specific, targeted development plans and do those by project. The world is moving to a gig-based economy, a project-based economy, where maybe jobs will go away as we know them today and be replaced by gigs. Gigs in English means a project. Delivering food to someone is a gig. Taking someone on a taxi ride is a gig. Imagine all jobs turned into gigs. It could. A medical doctor, a visit to the office is a gig. A operation is a gig. You get the point. So we may need to develop people as an approach embedded in those gigs, and we may need development plans crafted to each gig. Use micro-learning, very popular today, many books about it. What is micro-learning and micro-training? It's basically 5-minute, bite-sized learning efforts, that many of which we could put on a cell phone. Things like an infographic that people can study quickly when they're actually working. We can embed the work the learning right into the work. That's micro-learning, and that will speed up talent development. Embed learning into the flow of work. So if we have a process improvement effort where we're trying to streamline our work process, we may be able to embed elements of learning right into those work projects. I recently published a book on accelerated action learning. If you're not familiar with action learning, it's basically project teams that are given a work challenge to solve a problem, overcome an issue of some kind, like launch a new product, service a client's special problem. Those could be learning opportunities. We form a team of cross-functional and cross-cultural workers, and they learn from each other while solving the problem, and they do it in real time. That's a way to speed up talent development, to accelerate it. We leverage blended learning approaches, so we have an online learning management system, an LMS. We have opportunities on a daily basis. I published a book with Dr. Peter Chi on the leader's daily role in talent management. And I actually did training in Asia Pacific, so is he, on the results of that book. We list 365 ways that a supervisor or a manager can develop people on a daily basis. That will accelerate talent development. So there's yet another approach. One that I haven't mentioned is improving planned on-the-job training. Many organizations have on-the-job training, but it takes too long. Research has been done on planned on-the-job training, and it's been shown to cut the development time of people by as much as 500%. But there's a difference between using unplanned on-the-job training, which means a new hire follows a more experienced person around the organization to see what they do. That's unplanned OJT. But we can actually study the job, and we can ask top performers, high potentials, the best way to train someone on a job, and we can cut the development time dramatically. In one research study, a case study, the organization cut the training time from 6 months to 6 weeks for full productivity. Think of the savings in salary and productivity that kind of compressed talent development effort can bring to us. We can get creative in our uses of mentoring, shadowing, and coaching. Those are much more powerful ways to speed up individual development than sending people to classroom-based or even online-based learning experiences. So let me wrap up. In this session, I have defined what we mean by talent development strategy, and strategy. I've explained why we care about accelerating the talent development process. We must simply do it if we are to take advantage of the current speed of business and of general organizations, even government. Today, everything is happening faster. So we must find creative ways to get workers prepared for new challenges, and we must do it faster. Finally, I gave you specific approaches to accelerate your talent development strategy. Again, my name is William J. Rothwell. You can call me Bill. Thank you very much. I'm at Penn State University on the U.S. East Coast. Thank you for listening.